to the Public Works Committee meeting for August 14th, 2025. Kelly, can we have a roll call?
Chairman Lockmiller,
Here.
Alderwoman Tice,
Here.
Alderwoman Goode,
Here.
Alderman Erger.
Here.
All members are present.
All right. Move on to approval of the agenda. Anybody mind if we just do it by acclamation? Okay, we will do it that way. Move on to citizen comment. Anybody in the crowd or online have a comment?
No one online.
All right. Reports from committee chair and alderman. I have no report. Alderman Tice?
No report.
Alderwoman Gould?
Just want to say thank you to the Public Works teams for dropping off the barricades for National Night Out.
Alderman Eager?
No report. Thank you.
Move on to department commission reports, starting with Public Works. Dan?
Just a few miscellaneous projects to update you on. The 2832 Manderley Drive, that's the project with the retaining wall. I know the city attorney has reached out to the property owners to discuss the temporary construction easement, project duration, disruption, things of that nature. He has not received the finalized documents from them giving us, the rights to do the project, so it's just kind of on hold. Pine Avenue, just west of Brentwood Boulevard, alongside of the veterinary clinic at 2101 South Brentwood Boulevard. We brought this through public safety and approved it, but the signs are up and we painted yellow along the curb. So that first 150 feet on the south side is yellow. I know that we notified the police. They've been monitoring it and said people have been following the no parking restrictions, so we're good. And then lastly, the St. Louis County Department of Public Health. We've submitted for these they're basically a reimbursement grant application, so we've received recycling carts that way. I know the compost tumblers, we did that 1 year, or actually a couple of years. Vehicle, we've received some reimbursement. They've extended the scope of the grants to include latex paint collection, textiles, medical equipment collections. I don't know if there's any desire by the committee to do any of those or just stick with what we're used to. I did buy some recycling carts this year, but I could buy some more. If I received a grant, I would store them at the Pitney Bowes building. I know 75 carts, I looked up on Blackbaud, the cost is like $4,488. So if I could get reimbursed that, then I would just store them and that would last me probably a year and a half to 2 years. I wouldn't have to buy any more. I would just save the money, spend the money, get the money back.
What's the limit on?
The limit is $25,000. If you go over that, it has to be St. Louis County Board approved, which takes quite a bit longer. If you do below $25,000, then it's usually like a 12-week turnaround from the time you get approval, do the project, get reimbursed. It's fairly quick.
And it has to be spent this year?
It can go into next budget cycle. It just has to be approved. There is no hard deadline like there used to be. So once you get approval, it can extend out into 2026 if it had to.
Questions or suggestions for Dan? Nancy?
Well, I guess my question on the recycle containers, do you run low every year and do you go through them?
It usually takes a little more than a year to bring it down. So we got 75 back. I want to say it was in April, May. And they're nested together, so they just take up a footprint that's probably like 8 to 10 feet tall in that warehouse. It's not a big deal for us to store them in there if we did it. People do call, like their wheel falls off or they just get weathered and they want a new one. So we just swap them out and give them a new one.
So, and then I guess my other question is, are we limited to applying for one thing? Because we've never done, or at least in my memory, a latex paint or a textiles medical equipment recycling
You could submit
day.
multiple applications. They're just only probably going to approve one. I don't know that they'll give you two. I think they're trying to distribute it across multiple municipalities.
That makes sense. Every now and then I'll have someone ask, well, what do you do with latex paint? I'm like, well, you can dry it out. And,
Right.
But if you have a lot, then people have to make efforts to recycle. So I don't, is this something that needs to be done right away? Is there an opportunity for us to get feedback, or is it better for you to go ahead and submit this so we're more likely to get the grant?
I could just submit the recycling cards and see what we get, and then if we wanted to do one next year, I think you're limited, there's like a cap as to how often you can submit. It's either a 6-month or 12-month rotation, so just because I get approved for one doesn't mean I can't submit for something down the line.
That sounds fine.
If there's interest in getting feedback, whether other programs is something that we should consider, we have the ability, using the website and the newsletter, to survey the community. If that's something you want Michelle Boyer to look into further, that's just an idea. Or if you just want to take it to your ward meetings, that's another avenue to capture feedback from the community.
Well, and then like on these recycle things, the Sustainability Commission, some of those folks are pretty, they do a ton of personal recycling. So like one man collects all this stuff at his house. And so I think he has other people bring him stuff, corks and certain kind of light bulbs. So like he may personally know what people in the city would like to recycle. So that committee might also be a good.
And also,
Place to
Dan,
survey.
how long does it take us to go through what we buy? Is it 2 years, 3 years?
It took us like 18 months to go through the last 70 to 80 carts. So
You have 70 left.
I ordered 75. Of that, I probably have like 60. You know, we've handed out about 15
So
this year.
well, but you want feedback to decide whether we should do latex and all the others. Okay, I'll just leave it
Well,
alone.
and if we have 60, maybe there's one of these other things on the list that maybe we try this year, and then next year we go
Yeah.
back for the recycling.
That's where I
containers.
was going.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's great, thank you.
Yeah, and since there's no hard deadline, I can do the recycle card, see what they say. If you got approved, fine. If you don't, well, then we do one of these other ones. Just keep trying till something clicks.
Well, I guess I'm sort of looking at it the different way. If you
Yeah.
have what sounds like a year's worth of recycling carts, maybe we should try something different this time. And then
Right.
a year from now, go for the recycling carts when we actually need recycling carts.
Do you understand? that? Go for the latex this time around instead of the recycling.
Yeah, because I tried it through the solid waste district, and usually we were successful. This time around, I got rejected, so that's why I just had to go ahead and buy them. You know,
So to be clear, are we recommending that he go after the latex recycling? Or,
Well, I'd actually like to see, I mean, I wouldn't mind talking to I'm on the Sustainability Commission. I wouldn't mind talking to them to see if they, and I'm newer on that commission, and Eric's back there shaking his head, so maybe he knows if this has been discussed before, but. Yeah, so maybe, it sounds like this would be a good discussion for the Sustainability Commission.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. The only thing I'd like to add is, and I don't know if this comes back, but, and Bull, remind me, wasn't there a point in time where Brentwood Forest wanted to do recycling and we had to do a
The
special?
smaller carts.
we do, yeah,
We
we
did
still
that.
give them the smaller carts. They're 13-gallon versus 65 is what most single-family residents use.
And we have enough of those in stock?
We do, yeah, I ordered those last year. And typically, they last quite a while, and, you know, I don't know what degree they recycle, you know, with the limited space that they can store them.
It's been a year or two, but last time I checked, I mean, they had 40 or 50 of those things sitting out back up at the office, so they keep a good stockpile as well. But I can check, see if there's a need, so.
It might be worth highlighting in an upcoming newsletter or something about the fact they can get replacement cans, because there's some cans that look real rough for recycling out there. And they're definitely not green carts with wheels on them. Like, they're definitely old trash cans and other things. So it might be worth highlighting that that is available, because I think people might not be aware. And then I'm fully in support of having grant money reimburse anything we can get for our citizens. So if whatever the state sustainability committee recommends, I'd be on board with that, for whether it's medical or paint. But
Other subject matter for Dan? Dan, I just have one more thing. I know we're doing the glass recycling through that company.
Oh,
over-
Ripple Glass, yeah.
Hey, do we have any report on anything on how that's going? Okay.
But I was over there. I was over at the building, and so I just took a peek in, and right now it's about 2/3 full. And so typically, once they'll get notification when it gets closer, then they'll dump it, then they'll send us a report. And so when I get that first report, I'll make sure it's an update.
All right, well, don't go too far because we've got Parks and Rec Department next.
Right. I brought it up just in case. Just a few things tonight. The first is just to kind of let you guys know, we did get a letter from a resident outlining some concerns for the dog park, just in case you hear them. The first is being inadequate drainage and, not really an exact science, but what we try to do every year is kind of level out the decomposed crushed granite. And so we do that usually in the spring. And then typically as we see weather events, sometimes, it moves around that granite and then it creates new puddles. So as we do that, we'll readjust the following year. Infrequent mowing weeds, to be honest, there were some weeds in the large dog section. And so talking to staff, they said some of that heavy rainfall this year kind of led to that. And to be honest, we got a little bit behind with making sure that we took care of that. So I did talk to staff, and we're going to be more proactive with that moving forward so that we stay on top of that a little bit better. Ground cover, we had been talking about bringing in a new load of decomposed crushed granite, ironically. So that is correct. It was getting kind of near the end of its kind of life. The top part. And so we have that coming in the week of August 18th. We've kind of already announced that on social media. So it will come in on Tuesday. We'll have to close the full dog park during the day and then keep the large dog park section closed Tuesday night. So only the small dog section will be open Tuesday night. And then by the end of the day, Wednesday, we'll be done. So it'll just be kind of a one-day sort of close for that. The water source there's a water source outside. I think what the request is to bring one inside, and to do that would be a decent expenditure. It was hard to even get the one into where it was now. That's something we can look at in our future budget if that's what the committee wants us to do. Same thing with the table. We hadn't put any picnic tables in there, mainly because we're concerned about the size of the dog park. It's fairly small to begin with, and so we didn't want to reduce any of the size and let the dogs go around, especially if we put in a couple features, which is what we have done. And there are a couple benches, so there are some places to sit if that's a concern. And then the gate locks and handles, and this has been an ongoing issue with the dog park, and of all things, it's an IT issue. And so we've been working with IT for a little bit, trying to make sure that we get this figured out. They're working on it. We hope we'll have that resolved in the near future.
Questions regarding that matter?
I'll jump in on this. Thank you for bringing this up. First of all, the table, I would totally support not doing it because food, dog or human in the dog park is a choice people usually don't make twice if they ever try to bring anything in. And there are other issues with picnic benches in particular and dogs. So I understand that one would not be recommended from me at least. For the 18th, hot topic of the neighborhood, and by neighborhood I mean the dog park. So for the closure, are you going to be so you're putting new gravel in? Are you going to be addressing the holes at all?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of it. Once we
Okay.
put it in, we'll level out everything.
Okay.
And so that will hopefully, again, fix what has happened so far this year.
Okay, because there's just, I think you know exactly where the big ditches are, and then the area by where the fence is closed, because when it rains, the fence, you can't close the big fence between the dog park, the big dogs and little dogs area.
Yep.
So that area would be taken care of as well to close
Should
that
be.
off?
Should
Okay.
be. I know one of the issues prior to this is as we get weather events, especially hard rains, sometimes that decomposed crushed granite will leave, especially if we had some issues with the fencing, and so that's all been fixed as well. So we've redone the border, the base border to hopefully keep all that kind of in and hopefully keep that more level.
More level. Okay, cool. So the 18th, it's for when people ask me tomorrow, it's to regrade, smooth out the holes and put granite in.
Yep.
Any
And
other projects I should report back to the group on?
Not at this time. We're
Okay.
always looking, but not right now.
All right. They're a very interested bunch when that sign went up on the park
Yep,
yesterday.
understand.
Thank you.
All right, so another quick update is we've talked about the Deer Creek Greenway extension. We've brought this to this committee a couple times and how GRG is working forward on that. And so GRG is looking to work with Creative Entourage and engage elected officials to begin with to really talk about decisions that align with the local goals. So that meeting is next Wednesday at 1 o'clock, hopefully, yep. So, and it'll be here at City Hall. Alderman Lockmuller is going to be here. Alderman Tice asked if she could come, so I forwarded her on the information. And so that is one of the things they're talking about, will be kind of like the route, if you guys have a discussion on the route, and we can talk more later. Brentwood Days, so as we know, we're getting closer and closer to Brentwood Days. And so as we talked about last year was the first year with the wristbands, and some of the things we heard is that, well, if the carnival rides aren't free, there's just not a whole lot to do, and other people said there's plenty to do, but we're trying to obviously make everyone happy. And so what we try to do is increase some of the activities of that what we're going to be doing down on the fairground. So we used to have a kids tent. We kind of turned that into a craft tent that will do sand art on Friday, and then clay workshops on Saturday. We're kind of excited about that. You'll come in, you'll make it, then they'll take it back to their shop, they'll fire it, bring it back to us at the rec center, and then you'll have it to take home. And so that's kind of, we're hoping that people will have some fun with that. And then we have some face painting Friday and Saturday, characteristics, spray tattoo. And then one of the things that Sophie, who is my marketing person, is a art design, went to Charleston, Savannah School of Art. And so she got real excited. Like, hey, you've seen these painting walls. I'm like, yes, I have. I mean, these painting walls are really cool at different events. And so she wants to do something similar with chalkboards. And so we're working on that. And then I told her if we did that, then she has to do one of the boards is almost like a paint by number type or chalk by number. So she's excited about putting, a design on and letting kids kind of color it in and take pictures of that and really work with that on social media and do something with that. So that'll all be kind of in that craft area. Then we'll have strolling entertainment. So that way, magician and jugglers on Saturday. Friday and Saturday, we'll kind of be walking around the grounds, especially in hopefully the carnival ride area. So that way, while you're waiting in line, be a magician or a juggler kind of walking around, helping, keeping you entertained. We're bringing back pony rides on Friday nights. We used to do that a while ago. And really what we decided is that area where we have the drone show on Saturday, it's kind of a wasted area on Friday. Sometimes we brought in the police helicopter, but that was a quick sort of hit. And so we hope the pony rides will kind of, will be an all-night thing. So again, we'll utilize an area that had been underutilized. Another area that's been underutilized is on Saturday, right after the parade, is right around the bandwagon, because we don't have the band come in until a little bit later. So we're going to do a cakewalk. We're working with area businesses. Nothing But Cakes is donating stuff for us, and Gooey Louie for some gooey butter cake. That was hard. I don't know why. Gooey, it's in the name. And so that's, we'll do those type of things. We're going back and forth because if you go to a good church picnic, a lot of times they hand you the food and take it home. And we're thinking maybe gift cards. That way you don't have to be carrying around a huge bundt cake all day. And so that's kind of what we're looking at. And then we're hoping enhancing the beer and wine garden as well. We're moving it closer to the stage for two reasons. One, opens up that area around the food vendors. And two, it also gets the people who want to stay there basically all day and all night. Think former Alderman Wegge. That way they'll be near the band and can enjoy the band from there. We're also going to have a dedicated vendor in that area for adult beverages. And then two more shows with mixologists. And then we brought in a couple of video games on Saturday so adults can play Miss Pac-Man, Galaga. I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, one of them, and there's a third that I can't remember off the top of my head. So we're kind of trying to help add some more activities. So if you're not interested in the carnival rides, there's still plenty of things that you can do down on the fairgrounds. And then lastly, second to last, is the MSD CSO Mary project. And so we talked to MSD. They came by the other day to talk about the upcoming project, which, and again, we've talked about this briefly. We'll bringing back more information soon because it's still late 2026, early 2027 project, so we're still a ways away. But one of the things that they want to talk about is the effect that it's going to have at the recreation complex. So it always been from the beginning, since we've been talking to them, that they would tunnel underneath Brentwood Boulevard, get to our entrance, and then basically open shaft, open tunnel, all the way down to basically the end of that service drive on the north side of the building, where our trash dumpsters are. And so we're talking to them, we're talking about that, and then they're talking about the troubles that they're having tunneling from the other side of Brentwood Boulevard, because it's in that dentist's office, and it takes up, almost takes up all of their parking. And so they've been trying to figure out how, if they can even make that work. And so that wondered if we were interested in allowing them to start the tunnel from our side and then tunnel east. There's some pros and cons to this. It helps out a Brentwood business, and so that's obviously very good. And also, by doing that, they don't have to shut down that north entrance, which they'd have to do with the open trench. And so they push it a little bit back, they tunnel a little bit further, push it back so we can keep the entrance open. The negatives are that we're going to lose 20 spots for 4 to 6 months, which would be new, since that wouldn't be, they wouldn't be doing that in the open trench concurrently. So they'll do the tunneling first and then the trench second, 2 separate vendors. And so, you know, we're open to that idea. We're talking to them. Obviously, we think if we're going to do that, the city should be compensated for that. And so that's one of the things that we're working on, is Dan's actually finishing up our MSC agreement. You've seen those before, like when we went down Russell, that agreement. Dan's finishing that up, so we're going to add some of that language in there. And then we'll be bringing that agreement back to you guys to review before we take it to MSD. And then last is the Brentwood Park erosion repair. The Board of Aldermen approved that at the last meeting. And so they are also starting on the 18th. And so basically they're going to stage everything in that lower area west of the event lawn. And to access that, they're going to basically have to bring everything down a little section of the trail. They have materials to make sure they keep the trail safe and don't do any damage. Excuse me. And so basically, once they get all the equipment in, they can pull up their rubber mats, basically heavy rubber mats. And once they get that done, they can pull it up. So that will have a little bit of effect on us on Monday morning. They did look at it last week, and they're walking it with their site supervisor, and their site supervisor's like, hey, we could go right up the railroad, just cut across, we pull back a fence panel, bada bing, bada boom, we're right on. We don't even have to worry about any pedestrian conflicts. They reached out to UP. They're waiting to hear back. I'm not too encouraged that they will hear back. Good news is this project is 2 weeks. I think they can be done in 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll be done pretty quickly. And we did ask them to wait till this week, so kids are back in school. So those are the updates.
Questions for Eric? Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
Moving on to Planning and Development Department. Whitney?
The Planning and Zoning Commission met last night. We adopted the residential design guidelines. There was the continuation of the discussion for the 2001 Hanley Road Comprehensive Sign Plan. That did get approval. That will move to the September 2nd for a public hearing at the Board of Aldermen. Good Clean Dog also came in for amendment to the Comprehensive Sign Plan at 1234 Hanley Industrial Court. That was continued to the September P&Z meeting. And we did a text amendment to clarify language regarding regulations for solar panels. That was also part of the recommendation from the residential design guidelines, and that they were looking at some of the wording, and so that's continued to the September meeting as well. Next week we have our Architectural Review Board. We have 3 new home constructions that are being proposed and 1 home addition and covered patio. And then August 28th is the Board of Adjustment for a variance at 8515 Genevieve Avenue. The July reports were for the building division. We received 232 new building permits, and we had 922 inspections. In code enforcement, we had 28 new cases and a total of 55 inspections.
All right, thank you, Whitney. We'll see you again later. Move on to the Sustainability Commission. Eric, I guess you're back up with this.
There's just a couple things that came out of sustainability last month. The first is Charging Smart. If you guys remember, Charging Smart is very similar to Soul Smart. And so we have started that process. We've sent our intent letter. I had a meeting with the person from Charging Smart, and basically, they're like, as we went through, it's like, okay, you know what you're talking about because it's exactly like Soul Smart. So we're in a good spot. We have to complete a commitment letter and a self-assessment. Our subcommittee, which is primarily us in planning and development, we'll kind of do that together at our next meeting, which is in, I think, a week or two. And then we have to start working on the designation requirements. So the good news is that as we look through it at our last meeting, we feel pretty confident we can get to bronze by the end of the year. So once we get through bronze, we really have to kind of look at silver and gold and some of those requirements. And some of those might be some items that we're going to have to bring back to the committee for discussion. But we're still kind of early on, so we're not 100% sure, but we're in a good spot. So we think we'll be able to have that done, like I said, by the end of the year. And then one of the things we talked about is, and I think we talked about it here, but I don't know, is that the Parks and Rec Department is kind of doing what we're calling Sustainable September. One of the things that the committee talked about was trying to do some sustainable programs and events, and it all kind of fits together in September as we go into kind of roll into Brentwood days. And so we've kind of gotten this all finalized, and what we're working on is at some point in September, we'll have some goat grazing in Memorial Park to kind of go through and graze on invasive brush in the natural area. So they'll go through, we'll kind of fence them off and kind of make people know to come out, and our Sophie, our marketing person, is already excited about all the different things she's going to do with that on social media. She'll also be posting a lot of things in September about sustainability and what we do and what the city does. And then we just have a number of programs. Some of the ones that we're real excited about is we doing a raised garden bed with Home Depot. And if you come to that one, you get to take home a raised bed from Home Depot. So if you're interested, come to that one. We're on the 13th, we're doing a stream clean with REI. We've done this in the past. REI, before COVID, and it's taken a while for them to kind of get back organized, but they're a wonderful partner. They help us out a lot. So we'll be doing Black Creek from Memorial Park, hopefully up to Oak Tree Park. And then obviously Brentwood Days, we'll be doing a lot of fun things in there. As we've talked about, the drone show will have a sustainable theme to it. We just got the mock-up today. It looks good. I think it looks good. I'm excited about that. And there's a couple treats there. And then the 28th, we're working with Forest Relief. They're giving us a heavily discounted price for 100 trees that we'll give away. And so we'll be giving that away on the 28th, which is National Plant a Tree Day. So it kind of fits in well. And the same day, we'll also do Scarecrows in Memorial Park, which is kind of fun. We're taking kind of the leaves that are on the ground from Memorial Park. You come in with the clothes. We build a scarecrow. We'll leave them out in Memorial Park for the month of October as kind of a, hey, come look at what, if you're me, hey, let's see what my daughter did when I was at work. And so we kind of come back and be able to see some of that fun stuff. So we're excited about this, and we think if it goes well, we can kind of build on this each year.
Quick question about Black Creek. It looks like the 4th is a Thursday. What time on Thursday?
No, it's the 13th. Should be a Saturday.
Wrong day.
But it's very possible I could have a typo too. But it is a Saturday.
It looks like I was in the wrong. You were right. The
Perfect.
13th. Perfect.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Saturday in the morning. I forget the exact time. I think it's 8 to 10.
Excellent. Well, I could use some TLC, so I'm glad to see that happening.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Eric.
Great.
Move on to the consent agenda. Just the only thing in the consent agenda is the minutes from our last meeting. Can we also approve that by acclamation? Okay. Move on to old business. We have a stormwater bid package 1 and 2. I guess this is you, Dan?
Yeah, since we're getting near the budget time and then discussions of future projects, I wanted to kind of circle back to Stormwater Bid Package 1. So initially, there were 6 projects in it. One of those, which is Site 35 at 2217 Park Ridge, that was pulled from that group of 6. That's actually going to be incorporated in the CSO Mary project. So of the original group of 6, there's 5 at sites 17, 19, 26, 30, and 38. The latest engineer's estimate's 144,000. I know that those were submitted as OMCI projects. Those are approved as OMCI projects. So whenever we construct those later this year, then we can turn in receipts and get reimbursed on that out of our funds that they collected. So that's basically bid package 1. Shifting gears to bid package 2, I included the priority ranking that's in the stormwater master plan, for those of you kind of familiar with that monstrous report from a few years ago. So the way they categorized it, there's an efficiency rating and there's a rank. They also broke them up into combination, meaning that they're both private and public. There's ones that are solely private, which we're not responsible for, and then table 6-4 is all the ones that are public, which we would help try to do those. So I looked at the funds that are for each project as well as the ranks, and that's kind of how I arrived at the bid package 2 table. So I have like plan A, B, C, and D. And what I was trying to do was balance like the priority rank and the dollar amount for those particular projects and try to do like, say, the top 10, since the bid package 1 will take care of several of those high priority projects. So site 16, for example, is Pine Avenue. That rough cost is $479,380. So I know that if I tried to construct that, first of all, none of these is design, so we would have to do design, pick a group of however many we want to do or just one and do design and then move to construction. So the preliminary estimated costs are solely for construction. So there's going to be additional funds needed for design. But if I look at priority rank 3, which is Pine Avenue, it's roughly $479,000 just for construction. I know I don't have enough between the OMCI funds and Prop S. That's roughly $239,000 a year. You wouldn't necessarily need to do it. In 1 year, you could actually build a balance and then move forward with the OMCI project. So say it's pushing 500,000. If you had 239 and 239 plus the leftover, you would be at 500. So I'm just trying to get the mindset of which of these groups do we want to kind of look at? Is it A? Is it D? D seems more palatable just because it's a lower cost for those 4, and it knocks off the ones that are ranked number 4, 7, 9, and 11. If someone wanted to, bring forward Pine Avenue again, rank 3, it's like we could do that. We would need to get with the engineer, figure out what the design fee is, figure out if there's a revised construction fee, and then try to figure out how to phase it in with the budget. Is it part of it's in 26, part of it's in 27, that sort of thought process. So I don't know if the committee has a strong desire to look at any group of these as an individual project or another, omnibus where it's multiple projects.
Especially for my benefit, maybe even for Michelle, since we're new to the committee.
Yeah.
Bring us up a little bit up to speed. When you're talking, going back to your bid package 1, when you're talking a combo, that's both private and public, correct?
Right.
Now, is there then, the private part, is that the owners, the landowners that are kicking in?
We would be doing a portion on the private. They just give us the right to be there. So example, one of them is like on McKnight. So you're taking away a couple driveway slabs that are on the private side of the right-of-way line and then grading towards McKnight to make it an approved project. So all I need is their permission to get on the property, tear out those slabs and put them in.
So there's no cost share, it's just.
Right, the city would be paying for it, but to get one
Easements.
unified solution, they need to give us permission. They just don't have to pay for it.
Just kind of for better understanding, so I totally get you have a very nice ranking system. Is there any cost savings by bundling projects on the same street? Like it looked like there were 3 projects on Bridgeport. Is there any cost savings of all the equipment is already on Bridgeport? Let's add one more, even if it's lower down the road. Same for just any street where, is there any cost savings basically of clustering by geography instead of having to move equipment
Usually it's
around
not
town?
much of a savings, so long as they're here in Brentwood, whether they're 2 blocks away or 10 blocks away, there's not much of a savings.
Okay, there's not like a staging cost or,
Typically, no, there's just mobilization, demobilization. So they're
did-
in Brentwood, they're out of Brentwood. That's
okay,
pretty
so
much
there's
it.
no, okay, that makes sense. I was wondering
Yeah.
why some of them weren't clustered by geography, but that makes sense.
Yeah, and I also have to look and see like when some of the CSO Mary stuff is, because they haven't done the deep dive on that, because if it's a street that's impacted like Kentland, Covington, or any of those, that's CSO Mary, so I wouldn't even try to tackle them with this.
So my first comment on package D is I believe that we took care of the 2453 Mary site when we regraded that pavement. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that should be listed as one of the sites to address, because I think we've done that. And then my next question is, it probably does make sense to maybe get down to number 10, but some of these larger projects impact long blocks, like Pine, High School, and Lawn, impact a lot of people. And like the Lawn one, there were 9 different homeowners on Lawn who complained.
Yes.
So the whole thing is 376,000, but that's about 40,000 per, per home that's actually complained. So, I mean, at some point, we need to probably, my opinion is we should hold some of this money and try to tackle some of these big projects. Whether that's now, whether we try to get like the top 10, whether we, get a few more of these, so we've had 2 rounds of smaller ones, and then we start saving, like that might make some sense. But I don't want us to put off these big projects that benefit an entire street just because they're expensive.
Yeah, that's the sort of feedback I was looking for. It's like, I thought, well, me personally, I would try to tackle the 3rd or 4th ranked, especially the 3rd one, and even say the 6th one, although they're high, to your point, they benefited a larger group. Especially Pine, it's like, well, eventually you have to do Pine, whether it's, save up for 2 years, 3 years, or, I don't know how many smaller ones you don't want to try to pick off, and then it doesn't have as much impact.
The reason you're not doing Bridgeport with, that one's ranked the first 2 are both Bridgeport, and they don't seem that expensive for rank number.
Those are done.
Those are done already. Okay.
Or we're doing those. That's bid package 1. He's talking about bid package 2
Right.
and what
Yeah.
we're
Sorry
going to
about that.
do the
Okay,
next
so those are on
go-round.
this, they're getting done. This is in the future. Okay.
That is correct, yeah. The Bridgeport ones would be ranked like 1, 2, or, 1 and 2.
Okay, so we would do, if we did bid package D, we will have 4, or stormwater 1, we'll have 5 properties taken care of, small properties taken care of in bid package 1. We'll do a second bid package if we did D would be 4 small properties, and then the idea of in my understanding, year 3, we'd do like Pine or High School, like the whole. Is that a possibility? Because I mean, at that point, we will have done 10 of the smaller ones.
Yeah, I think what Alderwoman Tyson's saying, do Plan A, even if it takes 2 years to accrue
Okay, yeah.
$500,000, but then it takes care of a much greater problem for multiple properties. You could probably work in a smaller one. So say like, site 42 at 8837 White, it's only $5,310.
Right.
It's like, I
Like
would
that's
think you
one
could,
that seems like we could design.
yeah, you
get
would
to
fold
the
it in with the bigger one, and maybe you have an economy of scale savings on that.
Well, and I looked, and like when you take out that Mary one, then you're really to find one that fit into this dollar amount. You're dropping pretty low, and we're
Right.
just it sort of defeats the purpose of the fact that we spent money for a stormwater master plan and had outside people rank them. So I don't want to get away from that.
I'd agree. Definitely trying to focus on the first 10, even if they're most expensive, because it looks like their efficiency rating really, the first 5 efficiency ratings are low, and you really start getting higher once
Right.
you cross a certain threshold. So I'd hate to see something with an efficiency rate of 14 passed over for something with an efficiency rating of like 45. That just. So I understand it might take longer on timing, but I think it'd be
Right.
wiser, especially if it's impacting lots of people. And if we have maybe one or two really small ones one year, just so we do something every year, time-wise with management of projects, but like really be banking that money to do some of these bigger projects, I think would make a lot of sense. Think of the city as a whole.
Yeah, because I'll plug these in based on that feedback. Then when we sit down with budget discussions, then we can see how they actually fit in with, 26, 7, 8, so on down the line, a 5-year pro forma.
Because these are 50 years of improvement, right? Like we do stormwater improvements, they should be good for 30, 40, 50 years. I mean, this is a,
Yeah, there's some storm that's in Brentwood that's 100+ years old, yeah, I
so
know.
it's expensive, but it's not something like, oh, it's gonna go bad in 5 years. Like, this is a
No.
very, it will be a big project, it's an expensive project, but it's setting the city up and those streets up for 50 years of success.
Yeah, and some of these I know are more modern construction materials. So say, for example, like your sewer laterals clay, you've got some old concrete, maybe it's non-reinforced. Most of this, like the pipe that they're putting in is PVC, so it's inert, you know, it's not gonna corrode like things that are metallic or things that have steel inside of them for reinforcement. And then there are concrete structures, manholes and things like that, but a lot of them are precast, they're not brick. You know, the old school was doing brick and forming it by hand, so this should last quite a while. You know, just PVC pipe alone, I know is like about 70 years useful life is what the industry.
And then Dan, on the bid package 1, so you've got the design, so now does this go out to bid?
It will, yeah, because I've got the specs and the plans right now. I'm going over it, putting, you know, my feedback back to Gonzalez. We'll clean it up, figure out what the bid date is, when the bids are due, and then we'll bring those bids back to you hopefully next month.
Does Gonzalez do the review of the work that's going to be done by whatever contractor we select?
The way it's worded in the specs, yes, you know, any like questions, like a request for information, or if they don't understand like what they're doing on the plans, that goes to Gonzalez. They give them the answer. They'll provide some limited inspections. You know, I can have our project manager go out there and run point for our side. Yeah, the way it's worded is that they were looking for a final completion like end of November based on bidding it, you know, now and then collecting bids next month
On that whole package?
for bid package 1.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that could be one contractor doing all those projects?
correct.
Okay.
And then that one little piece, that site 35, that would be MSD's. They said they would go out for bid sometime in 2026, you know, fall of 26 probably. Or they would have a contractor, I guess, lined up fall of 26. So they'll be bidding it sooner than that.
All right. Well, do you have enough feedback to?
Yes,
come back
yeah,
with-
because I was just looking, it's like, do you want to try the easy or the hard? I would think it's trying what makes sense, which is a little bit more of a challenge money-wise, but we can figure out how, and maybe it has to straddle budget cycles. You know, you do it in part of one and kick it out to the other when you.
Yeah, what, it looks like more of a big bang if we do some of those projects, as Nancy
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I needed.
This is a good time to interject that we're supposed to be renewing engagement with the community so that if there are people that we didn't capture that have stormwater issues when we initially did this, to go back out and collect that again. We haven't formally done this, but is there interest in having staff continuing to do it for maybe this year or next year? I don't know if Gonzalez is going to go out and evaluate like they did, there's some related expense there, so we can model that into the 26 budget.
Okay, so we went out and asked people, what, 3 years ago?
Yes.
We haven't done a single project yet. Like, I don't want to go ask people for more projects when we haven't even gotten the first bid package out. I know it's super complicated with MSD, but I would put that off for another year. I'd rather spend the money on on design, on like maybe we do the design package for multiples of these, and so we can see, oh, you know, it's Pine Avenue's $750,000, not $500,000. So that's just, we'll never get to that, or, you know, or maybe it's less. So I would rather spend the money on that, and let's do a few of these before we get more on the list. I think it's just, when we go out to residents and we haven't done anything in 3 years, I just don't think that's good. And I just don't think that's good.
All right. Okay, thank you, Dan.
Thanks.
Let's see, what do we got now? We've got on to, let me get my notes back together here because I lost my thing. Is it old business or new business?
Still in old building codes.
Yeah.
Building
Whitney
codes.
or John, going to talk about building codes.
Good evening. We have been talking about codes for a while now, and the 2024 codes, we do have a the ordinance set up that you guys have gotten and seen. We've had some meetings. We met with HVAC contractors, Mr. Hoffman from Hoffman Brothers, and let me get his, Tyler, I think it's Minos. He is with Gateway Air Conditioner Contractors Association. We had a very good meeting with them. They were very pleased on what we had. Tyler was going to take it back to his 135 members and talk for us, that he thought we had some good changes into the ordinance. Mr. Hoffman did send us an email today stating, I think, that he was all for us and working together with us, and he was very pleased on what we came up with, the changes. So do you have any questions?
Questions for John?
Okay.
I guess not, John.
Okay.
So I guess we're ready to, it looks like you've met with vendors. I know we've met with a few of the apartment buildings in the area to update
Condos?
them.
Yeah.
Like Brentwood, we've met with condos like Brentwood Forest. We've met with several of the trades, as you've mentioned. We've asked developers to show up. I know we have our Home Builders Association rep here. Would you like to say anything, Barry?
My name is Barry Glantz. Thank you. I'm a consultant to the Home Builders Association. I think you all received a letter from Emily Wineland, who's the public policy director for the Home Builders, asking to delay this by 90 days. The HBA has a codes advisory committee that's still reviewing. Now we're focused on the IRC. I understand there's a whole I code that deals with building codes and electric and stuff. But as far as the IRC, the HBA's Codes Advisory Committee is still reviewing that document. They're through most of it, but we would respectfully ask you to delay this by 90 days so that we have time to meet with city staff to go over some amendments that we will have with the residential code. And all we're asking for is 90 days to delay, if nothing else, the IRC.
Okay, thank you, Barry. Well, John, I guess we do have a 90-day period before we were to take a final vote in December on this. So there is time for, even during this 90-day period, to do any type of alterations or changes to this during that period of time, correct?
Correct. It is 90 days, and then this, once it gets past the Public Works Committee here, it'll go to the board, which is still
September 15th.
September 15th. So we've got almost another month there. So actually, it'd be 120 days.
We can make alterations
We can
during
make
that period of
alterations,
time.
and that's what the 90-day waiting period is for, is to have people come in, bring their suggestions, and then we can put those all together and take a look and see what will work and what won't work.
So if the schedule is December 15th for the full board to vote on whether to accept the new building codes, I mean, in that period of time, we can make alterations up to that date.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
The draft ordinance that's in your packet is still just in draft review, draft form. So there's always a chance to add things until the final vote, yeah.
the reason for needing to do this at the next, well, I guess it wouldn't be the next meeting, it'd be the August, wait a minute, yeah, August
Yes.
meeting, is because you need that 90-day period of time to put it out to the public.
Correct. The code requires that the public hearing is held for a 90-day period from the first to the second reading, to allow for public comment.
That's going to be my next question. So this would be the first reading at our next,
It was at,
the 15th board meeting.
correct, September 15th, we would have the first review. Table it for, or continue it for 90 days.
And just so you know, too, I did have a conversation, well, two conversations with a electrical contractor, and he has some suggestions for us, and I told him we'll take those and see what we can do with it, and we'll look further into them. But yeah, And that's, as you said, that's what this is for. It gives them time to go through it and come back to us with any suggestions that they would have.
So I guess you're looking from us for a motion to forward this on to the full board at the September 15th meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, let's take a roll call vote.
Sorry. Chairman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice,
Yes.
Alderwoman Goode,
Yes.
Alderman Erger.
Yes.
Motion carries by a vote of 4-0.
Thank you.
Sorry. Move on to 7C, and that is Ameren's Renewable Solutions Program. I know that this went to the Ways and Means where it was pretty well shot down, so I guess you brought the corpse up here for us to take a look at?
Yes, I didn't know if there was a change in opinion from this panel. So there is a cost associated with this. So backing up, the Renewable Solutions Program would be such that Ameren is, in the next 20 years, they're migrating over to green solutions for power generation. So primarily it's solar, but it's also wind and then improvements to their nuclear plant. So basically, we would have to say what subscription level we want. So like this building represents 6% of the total kilowatt hours that we use in a year. The rec center is roughly 72%. The city has 29 accounts. When you add up all the accounts, it was like 2.33 million kilowatt hours that we use. So of that, if you wanted to entertain this, would you want to do 6% for this building? But it does come with a cost. When you look at the memo, that 6%, the first year net cost is $1,698. So that means it's an additional $1,700 for this building in addition to our base rate. And then it only goes up from there. If you did all the accounts, worst case, it's $28,401 for the first year, but this is a 15-year commitment. When you bring the 15-year back to the net present value, it would be $233,000 roughly for all of our accounts, or $13,938 for just City Hall. And I don't think the Ways and Means wants to spend additional money, even though you would offset your carbon footprint by X%.
But I guess Ameren's still going to move forward with this.
They're going to move forward with their renewable program. What I'll do based on Ways and Means was reject the agreement we initially said we would do. The deadline is September 18th for the binding agreement. We just sent a letter of intent, which was non-binding. We just need to, if we no longer want to explore this, just say we're no longer committed.
But I mean, environmentally, Ameren's going to move forward with this no
Correct.
matter what, so we're going to get the benefit no matter what
That is
without
correct.
helping them finance the project.
Correct.
Okay. So,
But we thought it
So
was and
just
Means.
restating from the last meeting, as I was on Ways and Means, I don't have a problem with spending money to improve our sustainability. I just don't want to spend money and not actually reduce our consumption. I'd prefer to reduce our consumption or improve our sustainability, not just pay for the privilege of calling ourselves green.
all right, so I would entertain a motion to, I guess, would this be forwarded onto the board to rescind the letter? Anybody want to make that motion?
So move.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Chairman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice,
Yes.
Alderwoman Goode,
Yes.
Alderman Erger.
Yes.
Motion carries by a vote of 4-0.
Moving on to new business. Item 8A is 2831 Hilldale Avenue. I think this is you, Eric?
So a few years ago, the city did a number of property researches because there's all these little areas that we weren't sure who owned them, things like that. And in that area on Hilldale, we actually found out the city owned it. It's kind of strange because there's a pathway from next street over all the way over to Brazil. So it's kind of strange that that part is owned by the city. We weren't sure how that happened, but we do own it. The city has never done anything to maintain it. The homeowners have always kind of, whoever's kind of taken control of it. And so we were approached by Ken Marshall at 2901 Hilldale. He is interested in purchasing that piece of property. And so in talking with Bola and the city attorney, we reached out to the homeowner south of it or north of it, 2829 Hilldale, and let them know of our intent to sell the strip and give them an opportunity for them to contact the city with any questions. We didn't receive a response. And so the city attorney and we feel comfortable moving forward with a real estate purchase and sale agreement to transfer that piece of property over to Mr. Marshall. So that's what we're asking to do, and hopefully approve and send it over to the board for their approval.
I'll make a motion approving the sale of 2831 Hilldale Avenue to Mr. Ken Marshall for $10.
Second.
Let's just say all in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? All right, go ahead,
Thank you.
Eric. Moving on to 8B. Is this UDAN exchange of some easements from MoDOT to us?
Yeah, these are all associated with the Brentwood bound project and the Manchester Road renewal. So primarily, it's all around the tunnel that goes under Manchester Road. So what these permanent easements are needed for between MoDOT and us is to maintain the sidewalks and some underground utilities, including stormwater. So with this committee's approval, we will take this to the full board for these 5 exhibits.
Questions for Dan?
So this is transferring the property from MoDOT to us. So we will be owners of the property.
In this case, it's the reverse. It's, these agreements are between, we actually have the property for the tunnel, and then we're giving them rights to be there and maintain their stuff. Yeah, it
What
was-
you asked has already been done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So do we maintain ownership of the land and they have easements on the
They
land?
have
or
easements on our land.
They
Yeah.
have easements on our
Yes.
land, okay.
Yeah, there's some drainage structures along the tunnel. They're not on Manchester Road proper, but they'll maintain them.
And it looks like the majority of these were the temporary parking lots we're using, is that right?
Yeah, it's, yeah, right adjacent to it, yes.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to forward onto the board for perfection, Bill 60, what is that, 65, 68? Anybody want to make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Chairman Lockmiller,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tice,
Yes.
Alderwoman Goode,
Yes.
Alderman Erger.
Yes.
Motion carries by a vote of 4-0.
Okay. Dan, 8C is McKnight crosswalk enhancements.
Yes, if you recall, we did some improvements on the crosswalk between Memorial Park and the YMCA. So that particular improvement was a pilot program. They refer to it as Vismark. It's a special lighting system. So when you press the push buttons and it's dusk, low-level lighting conditions, it flashes lights on the crosswalk itself and then upstream those triangles that are on the yield triangles that are part of Strassner. What this is taking it a whole nother step further. They've made all kinds of neat technological advances in the last go-around, so last 2 years. What this would do is it would have automatic pedestrian detectors. So when you break the beam, it's like a radar beam. You don't have to press the push button at the pole. It would sense that a pedestrian has entered that stream and broken it and start flashing the lights. So I think that's a big plus. So like kids that don't necessarily know to press the buttons, somehow it senses like, it's not like it's gonna be triggered by like a squirrel or something. It senses like the mass and the placement of the person as they break through the beam from either side. It still has the safe walk lighting system, so it'll have the lights just like what you have at Strassner. Cameras, which we don't have that. This is something new. So there'd be a camera that would shine down. The proposed location's McKnight. I should have said that, it's in the memo, but it would be at McKnight. We've already got a crosswalk mid-block at McKnight, like near Sonora. But the cameras can take still images, they can take video. So if somebody says, well, cars aren't stopping, that's where the Smart Hub comes in. So I can use a tablet, I can use my phone. It's just a username and password, and I can see if you tell me the day and time, did they not stop? What was the problem? Was it not functioning? Because part of the Smart Hub is it can tell me the battery life, it can tell me what the lighting levels are, and you can adjust the lights up or down, how bright they are that are flashing. And because it would be a pilot program, pretty much all of this equipment would be free to us. There's a 5-year Smart Hub subscription that's free. After that 5-year period, if we choose to renew it, we can. If we don't, we don't. The only other thing that I asked them to look into, the McKnight signs, if you recall, they've got lights around the perimeter. They call it blinker sign when you press it. I've heard negative feedback on those, that you can't see them as well as the rapid flash beacons, which are the rectangular ones, like on over by Memorial Park. So to upgrade that, it's roughly, I think it was like 3,700, which is actually a good price. So it's new push buttons, the rectangular pieces as well. The poles and that are the same. When we originally bought it in 2019, the price was like 8,400. So I'm getting a few improvements for a fraction of the cost of a whole new system, and it's brand new instead of 6 years old. So that's a lot to digest.
So the cars never stop, so I can't wait to see the videos because it's hard to get the cars to stop. I'm definitely supportive of this. This is a great, a lot of people in the neighborhood use this to walk to Tillis Park, so I definitely support this, and thank you for getting this great opportunity for us to have this new technology at no cost except for these new signs. So on the west side, the pole is a little to the north. So if you're walking out of Tillis Park, you don't actually you're not going to cross in front of the pole. You actually kind of have to walk down, go over to the north, and push the button. So will it sense that you're next to the pole, or does somebody have to actually cross the plane in front of the pole for it to sense you?
Yeah, that I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask. I'll take a picture of it and send it to them just to make sure they considered that. Because they didn't give you much information as far as brochures. I know that there's, some make sure I got it upside down or right side up. But there's some pictures and it doesn't show the actual sensor. So I wanted to see that, and if it needed a pedestal or something, or is it mounted on the pole where it's projecting a beam, but I don't know where it's projecting that beam.
And maybe the beam could, if it could be altered, maybe it could be pointed to the south, and then that would capture the people coming out of the park. And if not, then could people still push? Because we want to make sure that.
You can.
You
Yeah,
can,
you
okay.
can do either, because they said that way if you're on a bike, you don't have to get off necessarily either to reach over and press the button. If you're pedaling, you break the beam, it starts flashing, you wait till the cars start slowing down and then pedal across.
Amazing. It's a biker too. That's great. The light that comes down, do you know how, will it be similarly bright to this? I guess there are homes nearby, so if somebody walks at 11 o'clock, are they going to be?
And that was one of the bonuses that they explained, is that you can adjust the lighting level. So I know the ones that are on Strassner, I have no control over it. It's just on or off. These, when they're on, if you think that it's too bright, you can just tap it down a little bit, is what they're saying.
Great. Wow. Wonderful.
I think it has a lot of good features that the other one didn't, but this is just, 2 years into the future now, and we're in the present, and this is so much better and improved. And I like the idea of the subscription, because then I could, give it to the police as a username and password too, and then that way if they wanted to monitor it, or, if anybody wanted to see, it'll actually record the number of pedestrian crossings too. So if you said, well, during Winter Wonderland or whatever, it's like pick a time frame, it's like, and have it filter, and it'll tell you how many people walk through there.
Yeah, none, because they block it off.
Yeah, they shouldn't. Yeah.
They shouldn't be, unless they walk on the north side. Anyway, no, I think it's great. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm going to take this to public safety, but I thought, well, it is related to public works as well. There is an agreement, so I'll be sending that to the city attorney, and then that would outline the 5 years of free software and all the other things, and then what we're responsible for. I know on the last installation, we had to rent a lift, to bring them up to the level to put the stuff up. That's a few $100s, so I would just cover it in my budget.
Dan, do we need to contact Ladue on what we're doing?
I will. I wanted to see first, do you support it? Then I take it to public safety. If they support it, then I'll send them a copy of everything I plan on doing. I don't know why they would. We're the ones that are responsible for the maintenance and everything. If you recall, they allowed us to be on their side, but they're not maintaining it or doing anything. I think they'd be interested in seeing it improve, though.
Okay. Well, do we want to just take a voice vote as to the support? All in favor, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Okay.
I think, did we have one more from you, Dan, or was that it? Nope, that's it. Okay. Move on to citizen comment. Anybody from the public? Anybody online?
No, sir.